Hello everyone and welcome to the Sporty Show. Yes, there you have it. Ruben Amorim, we've got a here we go today from Fabrizio Romano. Manchester United have paid the €10 million compensation fee for the Portuguese coach. We've got a lot to talk about today, but first let me introduce my guest, Klinton Codd, the man of the hour. How are you doing?
And let me also introduce my guest, Alex Ashmore. How you doing, man? You are my guest.
I'm not sure why you use the word guest, actually.
I don't understand, man. What do you mean guest? Like,
we're both homeowners
no,
on this.
Fam, I pay rent, like, for this particular place.
I'm the landlord.
Right? You are the landlord, yeah, and I pay council tax. So I don't understand this whole guest. Like, fam, if we get somebody that people would never see here, sitting here, that is a guest. I'm not a guest, you are not a guest.
Well, we do have some guests, but I'll introduce them in a little bit. We also have some games for you on Sporty TV this week. We've just had Bayer Leverkusen against Elversberg. Bayer Leverkusen winning 3-0. Tonight, right after this, we've got Brentford versus Sheffield Wednesday. We're also going to be doing a watch-along, so get ready for that. Klinton and I are going to be watching Brentford and Sheffield Wednesday.
That's a very important game. Ronaldo is going to be watching that game as well. So
Ronaldo?
Oh, you didn't know? Oh, wait, they didn't tell you?
No.
Oh, man. Okay.
Oh, there you go. On Wednesday, we've got Libertadores action, River Plate against Atletico Mineiro. Wednesday, we've got J-League action, Yokohama against Urawa. And then moving into the rest of the week, Wednesday, it's the big Carabao Cup tie, Tottenham Hotspur against Manchester City. News breaking today that Heung-min Son is not available for that game through injury. Thursday, we've got Al Ittihad against Al Ahly in the Saudi Pro League. Then we've got Roma and Torino on Thursday night at 8:45 WAT. And on Friday, we've got Al Nassr against Al Hilal. Cristiano Ronaldo back in action.
That's the one I meant.
There you go. Not Brentford, Sheffield Wednesday.
No, but Ronaldo's going to be... But it's not the Ronaldo you think. It's Ronaldo Cristantus, one guy that's not playing. Right. He's in some academy. He told me he's going to be watching it.
Okay, I believe,
so
I believe you.
I didn't lie, though.
We've also got Luton Town versus West Brom on Friday night at 9 o'clock. Saturday, we've got Stoke City against Derby County and Liverpool versus Brighton in the Premier League, and then Dortmund versus Leipzig in the Bundesliga. So, a few big games moving into Sunday. Napoli against Atalanta and Sevilla against Real Sociedad. So, some exciting games for you on Sporty TV. Be sure to stay tuned for all of those. We've got a lot to talk about, as I said, on today's show. We've got everything. Ten Hag, Ballon d'Or, maybe even a little bit of Carabao Cup. But here's what's coming up this afternoon.
We kick off today's Sporty Show by looking at the news that Ruben Amorim is set to take charge at Manchester United. We'll also look back at the Ballon d'Or ceremony, as Rodri took home the most prestigious individual award in football. And we also look towards the Carabao Cup, as we preview Brentford versus Sheffield Wednesday live on the Sporty Show.
So, a few of you asking where Sarah is. She is actually on holiday at the moment. She will be back. Don't worry. Don't fret. She hasn't left us. She's still here. She's in Canada at the moment, but she'll be back, won't she, Klinton?
So, everything I did on this show just to be like Sarah, they still miss her. I was trying to be like, all right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sporty Show. I am Sarah Poraria, and here with me is Klinton Codd. Klinton, Sarah, we miss you, man.
Well, yes, she will be back, I believe, sometime next week, so don't fret. She hasn't gone. We do have some other guests on the show today with us. Gary, hello, how are you doing? All the way from Accra, Ghana?
I mean, they're pretty much on the screen. We have Gary, we have Alex.
We have Alex as well. Alex Baguley.
Listen, this is the Alex we don't get to see very often. This is Alex Epod Alex, all the way from Manchester. You know, I was saying just before we started that he's only available when there is something good to speak about Manchester. When it's stuff that are bad, that is when he would act like he has no business with Sporty TV. I mean, these are things we will need to trash out eventually in the future. But Alex Baguley, what's up? What's going on, mister?
I am good. You only bring me on when there's crisis, when there's big news. That's it. And here we are.
Every week, actually. It could be every week.
It could be every week, but you've waited till Erik ten Hag has got sacked to bring me on and to have a chat about it. But yeah, happy to be here and yeah, excited around the potential new stuff with United, but sure we'll get into that very, very soon.
Yes, and Gary, how are you doing? How do you feel about everything? Are you having a good Tuesday?
Yeah, normal day. I've been waiting for the show, and the breaking news got me interested because he's somebody who has been linked with English clubs for a good while, and I'm sure we'll also get into that as well. And I'll love to hear everybody's opinion, including those who are watching us from home and on the internet. Yeah.
Yes, so do send in your thoughts. Do you think Ruben Amorim is the right man for the job? Alex, I'm going to come to you first because you're a Manchester United fan. First of all, were you surprised that Erik ten Hag got sacked?
I'm not surprised he got sacked. I'm surprised when it happened. I was surprised when it happened, though. I think that I was at the Tottenham game a few weeks ago, and that, to me, felt like the end. It kind of felt like everything... It felt like the place went flat, and it just wasn't going to happen for Erik ten Hag. And I think since then, I think there's been some good opportunities to sack him. I think straight after that game, it would have made sense. I think after the Villa game, going into the international break, it also would have made sense. But then when he kind of stayed along, I kind of got this feeling that they were going to stick with him for the entire season, or at least up until Christmas. It felt like they were going to really stick with this plan that they had. And I didn't feel like the West Ham game was the bottom. I didn't feel like it was the time he needed to go. I felt like he had quite a good performance, a bit of bad luck, a bad refereeing decision. And I don't think he was expecting to be sacked on Monday morning. But when you see the news coming through with Amorim happening so quickly, it feels like this has been worked on for a while. It feels like it wasn't just the results weren't going bad for Erik ten Hag. They had their man, or they had the man that they wanted to get. And this has kind of forced them to do it. And, compare this to the time when we've sacked Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and then we ended up with Wreck-It Ralph for a year. It was chaos. You look how Solskjaer came into the club when Mourinho got sacked and it was like, okay, what's next? There was no plan with it. This seems like they're getting rid of a man and going, right, we have our man we want to get in. We know he's going to get him in. Maybe some of the transfers make sense, bringing in an ex-Sporting player from PSG to slot into that midfield, maybe, and not being played. Maybe this was a signing for the future rather than for the now. But yeah, I'm happy that it's been done very quickly, and I'm just hoping he gets sorted and he can be in the job as soon as possible.
You talked about some of those names coming in, but obviously, he's got a squad to work with. He's got until January to mould something together. And he can bring in players in January if you want. And this is, like you said, perhaps Ineos's first big move because Ten Hag wasn't an Ineos-appointed manager. Were you maybe looking at other options and thinking you would have preferred them to go elsewhere? Gareth Southgate was available. There's the former Dortmund manager, Edin Terzic. There's, managers that you could have perhaps persuaded away from their jobs like Julian Nagelsmann or Simone Inzaghi.
I feel like Amorim's the best available manager out there. And I say available, there's a release clause and we could go and get him. I think there was some other options. I think they made it quite clear that they wanted Tuchel, but sounds like it wasn't going to work out with him. Nagelsmann, I think, is another one that was very high up on that list, but he's not going to leave the Germany job anytime soon. And the Stuttgart manager as well, I think was, from what I've read, it was highly, highly regarded there, but he doesn't want to leave Stuttgart and playing Champions League football. I'm very surprised if he would. But look, Amorim was obviously keen to the job. They obviously have been told this weekend through third party, through Amorim, not quite sure who, that he would go for it. And it's moved very, very quickly. And I think it's a good appointment. It's one that makes a lot of sense, and I'm hoping he gets the best out of these players. But saying that, he's going to have a lot of the same issues that Ten Hag had. United last season couldn't field 2 centre-backs and Amorim wants to play with 3. So how he's going to do that, I don't know. We still don't have a senior left-back fit at the football club, and it's not looking like Luke Shaw's going to be fit anytime soon. He's not going to walk in and make this perfect straight away. There's going to be a lot to work on, and hopefully he turns something around very quickly and gets some good results very, very quickly.
Some work to do, definitely. Klinton, what do you make of the appointment? Obviously, there's a big step up from Sporting Club de Portugal in the Portuguese league to Manchester United, one of the big clubs, one of the biggest clubs in the world. Do you think he's up to the task?
Well, I mean, first of all, I feel, right now, if they had announced that Alex Baguley was the manager, I would have been happy too. Because I feel like anybody who isn't Eric Ten Hag, it's pretty much very good at this point. Alex, even you, with your boot tie, trust me, you just need to walk in there and...
I'm not sure I could handle the stress.
I mean, you never know. You never know. I don't think Manchester United looked that strong. I just feel like, Ten Hag it was just time for him to go. Now, this... Ruben Amorim, how do you pronounce the name?
Ruben Amorim.
Amorim, oh, that's the one, right. Okay. Yeah, that's going to take me some time. It would take me exactly the same amount of time it took me to learn Lamine Yamal to get this one properly eventually.
You'd have forgotten it in 5 minutes.
Yeah, 100%. But when you look at the record, what he's done with Sporting, especially this season and quite a few games even into the last season, you would see that he's a manager that, knows what he's pretty much doing. He's barely lost games. The minimum goals he would have, or the minimum that would happen is him having draws. But he's doing a very good job. And I understand that the transition between working in a particular league for a long time and coming into the Premier League is a whole different ballgame. But I think the first thing, because like Alex said, he's not just going to come in and turn Manchester United to Manchester City. I don't see that happening. In fact, there's going to be a lot of stuff to be done. There's going to be, some kind of introduction. This is a manager that's not used to the Premier League. This is a whole different league it's coming from. And Manchester United, again, it comes with some certain level of pressure that someone who's not really been in that league would have to, somehow manage. So, it would be that. And the fact is, he's a good manager. I mean, even Ten Hag, before Ten Hag came to Manchester, everybody had that hope. I mean, Alex and Baguley, I'm sure you would have thought the same. Gary, you would have thought that, with what he's done with Ajax, brought in a few players from there, Manchester United will start beating Barcelona at least 10, per game. But we saw the opposite. We are seeing Champions League team beating Manchester United. Manchester United struggling to beat Coventry. Coventry coming back 3-0 from behind, drawing the game and scoring an extra goal to in Manchester United. This is Manchester United. So, with this man, I pretty much have some level of hope. I feel like he would certainly, it might not happen overnight, but, there's still hope for the future for Manchester United, really.
Gary, Liverpool tried to get him. West Ham were pretty much signing him on the dotted line. Is this a good appointment for Manchester United, or do you think that they perhaps could have waited a little bit longer and stuck with Ruud van Nistelrooy for a bit?
I think I'd borrow the thought thread of Alex Baguley if I say that United knew exactly what they were doing and they went for their man, and they want to show the fans that they are hitting the ground running. So they let the manager go, and then, they leak it or whatever it is that Amorim is coming, just to imbue that confidence that we know exactly what they are doing. And with Ineos coming in, you've had the sense with all the stories you heard that he went to the dressing room, that, he was making some monetary cuts, Alex Ferguson not earning whatever he was earning as an ambassador, fixing this, that, announcing plans to build certain infrastructural facilities that were in deficit. All this was to give a sense of stability and structure that, all the way from Ronaldo, with that infamous interview with Piers Morgan, had laid bare to say that United was lacking something that used to be there in the Ferguson era. That was decisiveness, structure, and something to say seriousness, if I can put it that way. So in that exercise of letting us know Amorim is available, they might have achieved that. Now let's look at the manager himself. It's not out of character for what Premier League managers have been doing this season. I'm looking at teams like Brighton, who are going for young, exciting managers, to show that they are being forward-thinking. And I think that Amorim fit into that mold. He's 39 years. That's quite young in today's day and age to be handling the biggest club in the world, arguably, or the most famous club in the world, arguably, if you can take the Real Madrid and a couple of others as well. Amorim is 39 years. That is some responsibility he's going to be given. It's on par or at par with Julian Nagelsmann being given a club the size of Bayern Munich or the German national team as well. And I think that is refreshing, if for nothing at all, first of all, I think it's refreshing. And whether he'll be able to shoulder the burden of the pressure of Manchester United, not that he can't let them play beautiful football, but at clubs like Man United, your Liverpools, your Bayern Munichs, your Real Madrids, your uber big, your super clubs, it's not just about the football. It's about so much more than that. Whether he can shoulder that is what will be exciting to see and interesting to see as well. And I don't know if he's the right man for the job. Stylistically, we said the same about Ten Hag as well, didn't we? With everything he was doing at Ajax, even for us who are not fans of Man United, we felt that he could bring a certain breath of fresh air to the club. Unfortunately, he was stifled by the system. He was unable to put his imprint, his stamp, his fingerprint, his himself on the club, and he's gone now. Amorim has a big challenge, and I'd like to think that United will give him all the support. Hopefully, he gets the buy-in of all the players as well, because it's exciting to see United go to the top of the Premier League. It makes the league more exciting. Arsenal are flying with Mikel Arteta, having lost, the title challenge the last 2 seasons by this close to Manchester City. Chelsea are getting into their groove again. Liverpool are getting into their groove again. It will be nice to have Man United at that party again, just to make the league more competitive. European football, one of European football's powerhouses, coming back to its glory days will be good for everybody involved. Even though the Arsenal side of me and the Arsenal fan in me says, Gary, absolutely not.
I do agree with you on that one, Gary. I think it's been a while since we've had a Manchester United at the top of the footballing world, both in England and in Europe. Klinton, a lot of the criticism towards Ten Hag has been perhaps, well, this is the criticism perhaps not towards him, but towards the players, is that they're not proud to wear the shirt is the wrong way of saying it, but it feels like that they're not trying as hard as they perhaps could be. That's been some of the criticism towards the players, the fact that, that there should be a set of players on that pitch that are proud to wear the Manchester United shirt, and he feels that the output that they're giving isn't up to standards. Do you think that is something that Ruben Amorim can turn around, or do you think he'll have to bring in some of his own players for that to happen?
Well, first of all, I don't think that Manchester United players are not proud of wearing that jersey, right? What is happening? Because I don't think there's anybody in their right senses who would have the opportunity to wear a Manchester United shirt and feel like, you know what, I'm not happy or I'm not proud of it. I'm sure that there are players, even in Real Madrid today, there are players in top clubs who are wishing and praying that one day. I mean, I remember Odion Ighalo, being one of the first Nigerians to play for Manchester United at the time. The moment he wore that jersey and scored the first goal, you don't understand, it was like Christmas Day for him and his family back home. Like every single Nigerian, they were very happy for him. Like it was like the biggest thing he had done. He took a pay cut to come join that team, and he was ready to stay there even with the pay. So I don't think the problem with Manchester United is just a team problem. And I feel like it's a coach problem. Truth is, there are some coaches that will come handle a team, and it is going to look entirely different from what you would. Yes, I understand that Chelsea did sign a few players here and there, but you could still see that this new manager is somebody who pretty much understands the game. He knows what he's doing. We look at when you look at Hansi Flick, for example, as well with Barcelona, look at how he's converted some boys that were not performing on that Xavi at some points. When you look at Liverpool and Slot. Right? They handed over a whole team of new stars, and he's just carried on with it. Now, there are managers that you could still bring into these teams, and they are just going to mess things up. You will see players getting demotivated. For me, it's not the players. It's the management of these players. These guys are clearly talented. These boys, at some point, we looked at the like of, what's the name of the young man?
Give me some clues.
No, I'm talking about Marcus Rashford. When you look at Marcus Rashford, right? Marcus Rashford, at some point, people felt like it was going to be that competition between himself and Mbappe. There was going to be that, high level. the way people saw, or the way people see Kylian Mbappe today was what they thought Kylian Mbappe was going to grow into, and there was going to be that level of who is better and blah, blah, blah. But today, where is Marcus Rashford? People are not even comparing. I mean, they're even talking about the Manchester United guy that people feel like they are proud of, and is no longer there because of his issue with a woman, is Mason Greenwood. Like, the current players made it so possible that people started missing the one player who's not going to be there, right? So for me, it's not the players. These players are good players. You just need somebody who's going to bring out these abilities that they have, because it's somewhere inside. We've seen them display this stuff before. You've seen Marcus Rashford on some kind of beast mood. We've seen Bruno Fernandes. At some point, I thought Bruno Fernandes was like one of the best. I was going to put him in my top 5 in the world. When you mentioned the likes of Kevin De Bruyne, you mentioned Rodri. For me, I was putting Bruno Fernandes there. But these days, what's going on? It's like the virus that's going around the team, where there's that lack of motivation and people are not just wanting to play, it's now spreading around. And now even the good players are now looking like they are nothing. Talking about players, they sent this guy to Napoli. What's his name?
Romelu Lukaku.
No, I'm talking about...
Oh, Scott McTominay.
Yeah, McTominay. Are you going to tell me that Scott McTominay is somebody who's not proud of the jersey? Come on, man. Listen, there are some Manchester United players that they would die for the team. McTominay was one of them. But was he performing under that management before he left? No. So it will tell you that it's not a player. He's gone to Napoli now. Look at what he's doing in Napoli. And people are saying, wait, why did this guy go? Why are we letting people like this go? So it's a management issue. It's a coaching issue. So this new guy coming in, what I see him doing is bringing out this beast that was in these young guys that had left for a very long period of time.
Talking about these players, Alex, I'd like to get your thoughts on this. I've made, a potential 11 of what I think Ruben Amorim could line up with in his first game. Rumours are that he could be in the dugout in time for the Chelsea game. I've gone for what I think in terms of who is obviously taking into players that are injured as well. If everyone's fit, this is who I think could be the best lineup for Ruben Amorim. Would you make any changes to this lineup?
I think that you're going to have to get Bruno Fernandes in the lineup somewhere. I think Amad Diallo, good player, but I'm not too sure about starting. I still think there's a lot of, we've talked about Marcus Rashford there. I still think that he could start every game for Manchester United, and I think if he gets flying, potentially has proved more than Garnacho has done. But I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't start. And then I think Dalot, Mazraoui, they could both play on the right. I still think you need someone on that left hand side. Hopefully, one of our left backs is fit by some point. But yeah, I like the team. I like the idea of it. Maybe there was a thought of this while we signed 2 centre-backs this summer. I think the next step with this team and what needs to happen is the recruitment needs to be spot on. And it's not just from the manager. I think that, Ten Hag maybe got trusted too much with bringing players in. And, I think that, the signs of the mess that happened with Manchester United happened in that first summer where, he said all summer, I want a Frankie de Jong to come and play for me. And they went, well, how about a Casemiro? And that's not a comparison that you need. Casemiro's been a great player, but he's not Frankie de Jong. He's not that kind of player. And then the same thing happened you got 12 months later where he goes, I need another centre-back. And he goes, well, what about a free agent in Johnny Evans? And you kind of go, no, this is not what a structure should do. It's can we find the next, Euro before he becomes a £50 million player? It's finding that alternative of going, okay, we need a backup to Kobbie Mainoo who can do that job and do that. We need someone on the left-hand side. We're not just going to go to Sporting and take their left-hand-sided player. Let's find someone in the Premier League that can do it. We're talking about Bruno. Bruno's been given a big contract. He's captain Manchester United. He's Portuguese. I don't know whether that plays into anything, but you said here, does he fit into this system? These are all the things that the guys above the manager need to make decisions of, and not just rely on the manager to turn around with this. But I like this team. I like the idea of it. But at the same time, like we've all said, I like the idea of Eric Ten Hag's team coming in, and everyone thought that was going to be it. I like the idea of what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did for a bit, and Mourinho had us going for a bit. But it's this decision after decision needs to be right in the football club, and this is what needs to happen now. And I think that, look, they've got their man now, Ineos, and everyone said this, but I think that, you know, The next thing is who he gets in, who the players are. You're hoping that Ineos did the right thing this summer. There's a lot of ex-Ajax, ex-players joined this summer, but you're hoping they did the due diligence of going, here, these guys can play under any manager. And I think, to be honest, I think De Ligt, Mazraoui's looked, even though we've not been the best, Mazraoui's looked very, very good. I have my questions over Xerxes. Ugarte, is he one that got picked for Amorim more than he got picked for Eric Ten Hag? Who knows? But I think that's the next stage, is that finding these players, and they will match any kind of system and can be able to do this and make those decisions. Because look, I think there's some good players there, but we talked there about whether they can compete. This squad isn't anywhere near the likes of Liverpool. It's not near the Arsenal. It's nowhere near Manchester City at this moment in time. I think it's at best the 5th or 6th best squad in the league, never mind one that should be competing for the top 4. And Amorim's going to have this on his head as well. If he doesn't do well, the last guy won 2 trophies whilst doing this. You're going to have to match that in some way. It doesn't matter how good your football is. If you get knocked out of the Carabao Cup in a couple of days, straight away it's a trophy you can't win this season. So it's going to be a tough job. It might be the toughest job in football, I still think. It potentially is, because it's as big as, or nearly up as big as Real Madrid, and we've not got Mbappe and Jude Bellingham playing for us. So yeah, it's going to be a big job for anyone coming into Manchester United.
I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think that's Mbappe playing for Mbappe coming to United. I mean, he's somewhere, and we are having issues. Anyway, we'll come to Real Madrid in a minute. But
Yeah, just before we do move on to a certain award ceremony last night in Paris, Gary, quickly to summarise it all, do you think, looking at some of the players that Alex has mentioned there, do you think Bruno has to be in that squad, or are you happy with that 11 that I've given?
Yeah, Bruno definitely has to be there. So I'll give a certain context first. Amorim's teams, they seem to be fluid in possession. They are possession-oriented, quite possession-oriented. He likes to play through the middle and likes to overload in central areas as well. And based on that, if you look at the team you've given, I'll just make a couple changes. I'll put Bruno Fernandes there, definitely Rashford there, Højlund there as well. So it will be, for me, Onana, yes, Maguire, De Ligt in the middle, and then Martinez out there, because he likes to play 3 at the back, as we all know. And then Diego Dalot in front of them, together with Ugarte, Menu, and Luke Shaw. So I'll put Luke Shaw there instead of Mazraoui. Then we've got Bruno. Bruno, definitely. I mean, his qualities will come in handy in an Amorim team for a myriad of reasons. Rashford, and then Højlund in front of them. But it's good to have. But I have it in mind that you said this squad, or this 11 that you've named, are when everybody's fit, right? When everybody's fit. So in the most ideal situation, and it's good. Like Alex Baguley said, to have all these players means that you can rotate well, and Amorim has a motley squad to play with, and that's why we've all said, I think we all agree, that it's not just about the players that's happening right now with United. It's things that are more than the players, and hopefully he can be able to put all together into a very nice crucible, and for United to keep firing. Yeah.
Yes, some tough decisions to make. As I said, I'm glad I'm not the one making them. I think it'd be too much stress. Moving on to the award ceremony last night in Paris for the Ballon d'Or. Quickly, Alex, before I let you go, and hopefully you can get yourself prepared for a Carabao Cup knockout later in the week against Leicester. What did you make of the whole ceremony? Did you think Rodri deserved to win it? Was Vinicius wrongly stripped of an award that he should have got, or how do you see it?
I think it's a strange one, the Ballon d'Or overall at the minute. I think it's a strange award ceremony at the minute. I think maybe everyone's got too used to Ronaldo and Messi and just picking between two for too long. But yeah, I think, look, Rodri is a fantastic footballer. It pains me to say how good he is. He's probably the best in the world in that position. And I think maybe the only odd thing is that maybe he should have won it the year before. Or, a Manchester City player should have won it the year before, considering the things they did. I don't think there can be an argument over who it was. I think it shows the change in football. I think people, there's people overreacting, going, look at that list. It's not as exciting as you go back to 2008 when you had Messi, Iniesta, Rooney. You had all these amazing players you could pick from, and then you go, oh, we've now got, we're looking to defenders, and should Carvajal be winning it? So I think that it's not that. I think it's more, look, these guys are in well-oiled systems now that just kind of do this, and Rodri is probably the best at it all, to be honest, at this moment in time. So I don't think you could say he didn't deserve to win it, but I wouldn't have been surprised by Vinicius. But I do think, I think it's getting closer every year because of the standard of football. I don't think there's this big level before where you had Ronaldo and Messi. I think that, I'm hoping 2 years' time, I'm not going to give it a year, you'll have Kobbie Mainoo winning it. If a midfielder can win it, so can Kobbie Mainoo. So
I was just waiting for him to speak about Kobbie Mainoo as well. I was surprised that he's not mentioned Kobbie Mainoo as well, because it's like his trademark.
I'm hoping he can.
I won't be surprised if Alex has his first son. It's going to be called Kobe. No way it's not going to be called Kobe.
Absolutely. Look, he's a proper player. So look, I hope it's the case. But yeah, I think football is getting closer. I think we're getting more in the realms of it being between Rivaldo, Beckham and Figo, like that kind of level where everyone's together, those top three, rather than this pick of these two aliens almost miles ahead of everyone. So I think there's going to be different winners every single year. And I can only hope that a Man United player is in there soon. Could do with me in the top 50, because we're not even close to that at the minute. So yeah, we could...
Let me just chip in, Alex.
Sorry, Gary.
Guys.
Gary, before you chip in, I just
go
wanted to just state the fact that, have you noticed that these two Englishmen, you see, when there are some kind of questions, right, that are very tricky, do you see how political they sound? They just asked him, do you think he was stripped out? Now, everything he said here, yeah, all I just see is somebody saying, both of them should have won it. One of them won it, but both of them should have won it. I don't know what else you want to think, but both of them should have won it. Oh my God. Well, Gary, sorry, go on.
Yeah, I just wanted to tell Alex Baguley that just in case you want to take Klinton's suggestion and name because of your love for Kobbie Mainoo, Kobbie is a short form of the name Kwabena, and Kwabena is the name that Kobbie's tribe give to a male child born on a Tuesday. So keep that in mind. So
I'll keep
be
it in
working.
mind.
Yeah. So Kobbie is the short form of Kwabena, which is the male child born on a Tuesday. So be getting it right. I mean, if you name him Kobbie, nobody. I mean, I'm just saying that if you want to get it absolutely spot on, male child Tuesday. So when you are doing your, you know what to do.
It's going to take some planning.
But Gary,
what a way to describe it, Gary. Doing your...
Gary, sorry, because I mean, in Spain, I've realized that with the Spanish language, anything that you say for a man and you say ends with a na, the woman one is with a nail. There's
if it ends in a, it's usually feminine. If it ends in an o, it's usually masculine.
Yeah, exactly. Oh. So sometimes
Spanish grammar on the Sporty Show, eh?
So obviously you've just said Kwabena, it's the male Tuesday. So would you say Kwabena or?
And then the female is Abena.
Oh.
So Abena and Kwabena.
So those songs they used to sing in Ghana, Abena, Bena,
Exactly.
Okay, so it's for the Ghanaian lady. Ghanaian ladies have done a lot of Nigerian artists, Abena, Bena. Hey. No do me while you. Do you know the meaning of no do me while you?
Get your calendar ready, and plot your stuff.
Ready.
My friend, you've got work to do.
Going off what you've all said, we've got some comments here. It's been, I think, the controversial topic over this last couple of days. Kwasi Opong saying Lamine Yamal has to win the Ballon d'Or before Kobbie Mainoo, Cole Palmer, Vinny, and most of your favourites. Mark and Day saying Mbappe at 18, we all said he will win it. Now he's 26. We don't even know if he's a Barca player or a VAR agent. Some very off-the-cusp comments here from some people.
Wow.
AD Samuel saying Rodri just benefited from the lack of decision between the three Ballon d'Or nominees and accumulated points little by little. Klinton, it's taking the world by storm. Vinny didn't go. No one from Real Madrid went. People were chanting Vinny's name when George Weah read out the winners, or when he read out Rodri's name as the winner.
Yeah.
Do you agree with the fact that Rodri won it? I know yesterday you were saying, we were talking about Danny Carvajal, how he arguably to you should be the winner. But if you were to pick between Rodri and Vinicius, do you think they've made the right choice?
Well, I mean, I think they've not made a wrong choice from what they've done, but I don't know if they've made the right choice either. I mean, I want to sound like you or Alex. In fact, I want to sound like the two Alexes.
How posh of him, how well-spoken, how eloquent.
Oh, yeah. Well done.
These English people always doing it. I think you'll find your English as well. Haven't you got a British passport?
It's like a disease now. You acquire the British passport, you start sounding British. No, but the truth is, I personally think that Rodri was a phenomenal player. Okay, when we talk about the years that they are considering these players for the Ballon d'Or, we cannot say that Rodri did not perform. I mean, we're not going to compare the goals from a midfielder to the goals of a winger whose job is to, create chances and score goals. Rodri did exactly what he was supposed to do as a midfielder, and he did it exceptionally. He didn't just do it he was very good. As a matter of fact, at that point, I felt like Rodri was the best midfielder in the world to me. He was scoring the goals, he was creating the chances, he was extremely defensive. Rodri would win the balls back. So I don't think they've done the wrong thing here. But the thing I think people are not really understanding is the criteria to how this thing is issued. What I'm beginning to think people are thinking is somebody decided to say, yo, you know what, I think this person deserves it, and they will just call. The Ballon d'Or is based on votes, and there are criteria to which you need to meet for you to get a certain number in the votes. And these things were clearly explained in the Ballon d'Or ceremony. So this is the area where I think people are not looking at. And I would never tell you that Rodri did not deserve it. He did deserve it. The difference between Rodri and Vini here was Vini started this season crazily. It's almost like he's putting his name out there to say, do not forget that I am still doing, and I'm still doing this thing on the pitch. I'm still scoring the goals. Okay. So with Rodri, this season he's not really done so much. He's got an injury, so he's not. So it's almost like, okay, people have tend to forget what he was, during the season that they are considering for the Ballon d'Or. What Vini did was he refreshed your memory as to what he had been doing and what he is still doing. Rodri he's not gotten the opportunity to remind you of what he had been doing to be considered for the Ballon d'Or. So no, they've not done anything wrong. When you talk about the behavior, which is part of the criteria, are you going to come? Let's talk about behavior now, right? If, say, for example, there is Rodri and there is Vinicius in this other part of the building, and you hear people screaming and shouting like there's a fight going on between Vini and Rodri, who do you think would have caused the fight? Oh, don't tell me. Poof. Gary, tell me, who do you think? Alex Baguley, tell me. This is a very serious question. There is a fight. Sorry, can we take off this thing from this screen? I want to be seeing people I'm speaking to, man. No, but listen, this is something I want us to think about proper, right? It's the behavior, it's the character, it's the person that... We are not saying that Vini did not deserve it. When it comes to the football, when it comes to the game, he definitely did deserve it. Now, Rodri, on the other hand, from the football, the game, does he deserve it? He definitely does. So now let's go to the next point, right? The next point, now let's look at who is he on the pitch? What kind of person is he? Like, who would you pick at this point? You want to talk about the trophies. Rodri has trophies. They probably have equal. One has a Euro, the other one does not have the Copa America. One has the Premier League, one has the La Liga, right? So there is always that match for match. The only difference between both players is one is scoring goals. So why are people screaming about this whole Rodri? Because a lot of people felt like, yeah, it had to be Vini because he's just been performing exceptionally this season. He's scoring the goals. They've hardly lost games apart from one or two that they've lost so far. So these are the issues. Now, let me tell you one of my biggest problems in the whole of this Ballon d'Or stuff that's been going on, right? They gave the Ballon d'Or to someone else. Yeah? I've hardly seen players post on their social media to say, Rodri, congratulations. I'm happy for you. I'm doing this for you. All I've been seeing is players saying, Vini, sorry you got robbed. I don't think this is sportsmanship, man. For me, that's so wrong.
Well, some of the comments here on this subject. Kwasi Opong saying Vini is a crybaby. Someone should console him with a lollipop. Naji saying Vini deserves the Ballon d'Or. Kwasi Apong's then saying, I like Klinton's introduction. So well done, you've done well there, being an Englishman. Marking Day saying, I wish it was a Nigerian elections. By now we would be in court. So, I mean, I think everyone seems to, and, you know, to be fair to Rodri, fair play does come into it. And you could say that perhaps sometimes Vinny, because of the reactions that he gives on the pitch, that some people might take that into account. Gary, do you think that it is perhaps too much hinged on the fair play? That it basically does come down to that, you know, these two players are neck and neck.
Klinton spoke about it at the top of the show about how I've been roasted on my socials because I posted my views from yesterday's video, explaining how reputations matter in these things. Because, and in Spain in particular, the Spanish media took the trouble of dialing up the journalists from countries as far as El Salvador and European countries and Asia and Oceania, just to ask them. And you know, yesterday I was saying it on the show, that journalists or coaches and other people who are able to vote for these awards have given some of the very flimsiest of reasons as to why they vote this player and that player. An El Salvadorian journalist said to Marca yesterday, I'm sure you saw it on the socials yesterday, that he's a Real Madrid fan, and everybody knows he's a Real Madrid fan, but he voted Rodri because he felt in the year under review, he was a much more superior footballer on and off the pitch. That's what he said. And it was as if, you know, he knew. I said this before the ceremony started, that I've seen this so many times, that you ask people, I mean, is it Tata Martino? I think it was Tata Martino again, who said that for him, Leo Messi is the best footballer in the world right now, but he would say that Vinicius is the best footballer in the world right now, yes, but the best player in the year under review is Vinicius Jr. So look at that. If you made a mistake of putting Leo Messi in the top 5, somebody like Tata Martino will vote for Leo Messi, regardless of what your Rodri or what your Bellingham or what your Vinicius Jr. has done. To sum up what I'm trying to say, look, the people who vote are human beings. At some stage, they are going to be sentimental or emotional beyond the fact, especially when, like Klinton says, you have two players who are almost neck and neck in almost every metric, like Vinicius and Rodri. And it is not a clear favorite thing like a Cristiano or Messi argument. And like Alex Baguley says, every year from now on in, we are going to have a different player winning Ballon d'Or, because you have to be Cristiano or Messi to be putting up the insane kind of numbers that those two put up every year. Look, you simply cannot do it because you are not Cristiano and Messi. So it means then that Rodri is going to do it this year. Next year is some other player, and so we are going to have different players winning it. What does that mean? It means that every year we are going to come back here and we are going to be arguing about the criteria and whether fair play. So, in summary, players should understand that the things they do on the pitch are going to be taken into consideration as much as they do the things they do and say off the pitch. Is it fair? Obviously not, because we are supposed to judge footballers based on what they do on the pitch. But it is what it is. And so if I were a football player or a football agent or the club executive of a club where a player is doing so well that he's going to be in contention for Ballon d'Or, I'm going to start my PR in that sense as well. And I know it's not the fairest, but it is what it is. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is, my brother.
Alex mentioned how perhaps all of these awards are blown out of proportion, and you know, at the end of the day, as a football fan, if I'm supporting a club, I don't mind if a player wins from my club. I don't mind if he wins the Ballon d'Or or not. Obviously, it's nice to see, but I'd rather they win the league and the Champions League and win the team trophies. Do you think that the Ballon d'Or has perhaps been blown out of proportion a little bit? And do you think it's held in too high of a, I guess, people enamour it as an award that's perhaps maybe more important than it should be?
No, I mean, sincerely, I think that it will go back to history at the end of the day. I feel like it's almost like in music or in the movies where you have the Oscars or you have the Grammys and stuff, right? And everybody would always complain when it doesn't go their way. They would say, no, this stuff is all washed up. The person who's winning it, the team winning it at that point, they don't have the same ideology as you. They feel like, yes, this is what we are talking about, right? Or one of our players has just had the Ballon d'Or. And as far as we are concerned, this trophy is very strong. If you have, players from back in the days who are seen as legends that they will never be forgotten. Let's just say Lionel Messi and Ronaldo, right? These people, this is trophy that they prayed for. They were excited to carry. They were in front of that podium, that stage, with that whole, proudness, or would I say pride, with their kids, with their family. This is something that's highly, it's like you winning, a Grammy Award. There are some rappers in America, somebody like Nicki Minaj and a few other of them who are great, but they've never had the Grammy before, right? Those people, do you think that they believe that the Grammy Award is very, very, very solid currently? No, they will tell you that, oh, this award is rubbish. Why? Because it didn't come your way.
Klinton, there's marketing reasons as well. You see, Alex, and let's remember. So I just give you an example. I mean, I've been in media for a while, and some of my previous bosses, there are certain awards that, like, every year, the media house has to file for. We didn't think it was a big deal because we felt that the job of the media is to do what? Is to, like, educate, entertain, and to impact the lives of people. So whether you are given an award or not, just like Klinton is saying, it doesn't matter, right? Just like you were saying, all the fans should care about is whether you are winning the league, the Champions League, and whatnot. However, our bosses come down one day and say that, look, we know you guys are doing a fantastic job, but guess what? Our advertisers and sponsors are gravitating more to the media stations that are seen winning all these Mickey Mouse awards. Why? Because those media stations are using those awards to charge more in and make more in advertising revenue. And that's exactly what is playing for the likes of Real Madrid. You know why? Because if you go to Real Madrid and you go to their trophy room, you just don't want to see that they are 15-time champions of the UEFA Champions League. They want to say, we have won more Ballon d'Or than any other club in the world. And that is what is coming down to. Today, if you go to Manchester City, you know what they are going to say? They are going to say that we are the only club that have been able to withstand the might of Real Madrid. And you know how big that is? You know the clubs that have not been able to withstand the PR, the pressure. The editor of France Football said in the last 24 hours that Real Madrid gave him so much pressure to let him know or to let him leak who the top three was, but he withstood the pressure. Do you know what it means for the significance of the Ballon d'Or? For sponsors to know that, Real Madrid care about this award so much that they are giving this man pressure. So if this man charges an extra $100,000, 100,000 euros, 100,000 pounds for sponsorship fees, he's going to say, this is the award that Real Madrid are fighting for. Vinicius Jr. is tweeting about it. So it boils down to the marketability. So unfortunately, you and I as football pundits or whatever, may not be seeing that this is a big deal, but it's about money. And if you follow the money and the talkability that these awards get, what it means to the fans as well, the bragging right, unfortunately, is only going to be worse and worse and worse. Because right now, if I were Manchester City now, Alex, Ashmore, what I'm going to do now is that I am going to create a special desk for Ballon d'Or. What are they going to do? We are going to ensure that we are going to research exactly what it takes to influence public opinion for our players who are doing well to get the kind of press mentions, the kind of attention that would ensure that the journalists around the world, all the 100 voters, will be voting them and not those other players for next year's Ballon d'Or. And you can bet that Real Madrid have had that for a very long time. Teams like Man City and others are going to do that and going to put people on it full time right now. So that's what it's about. It's all about the money now.
Gary, are you going to vote for Vinicius in the FIFA The Best Awards?
They've not given us the criteria yet. And so, you know,
Very
the
political,
dates may be different. No. See, I'm serious. If they said like from whatever to July last year, the same time period as well, you know, then yeah, I mean, you might say Rodri. But if they extended it, obviously it has to be Vinicius because of what he has done, you know. So yeah, we are waiting for the criteria. If I'm lucky enough to be selected to vote again, then I'm going to do. But I'm going to ask the Sporty Show. I'm going to ask you and Klinton and Alex Baguley and Sarah Ashmore as well. And then we're going to take a vote and we're going to vote.
Oh, damn, man. I want this one. Sarah Ashmore. When did you guys get married, man? Wait, did this happen when I was in England? Wait.
Slip of the tongue.
Oh, he didn't know. Okay,
Slip
right.
of the
I mean,
tongue.
it just sounds like there's something I don't know about going on this show. But Sarah Ashmore, wow, okay, that's a new name that's going to be coming on the screen from maybe next week or something. Sarah Ashmore, damn.
Yeah.
We have, unfortunately.
All right, so that's what I'm thinking, man.
You're going Vinny. You're going Vinny. I'll tell you to vote for someone else in the Real Madrid shirt wearing number 5. But,
Jude
you do
Bellingham,
what you
come
do.
on, Jude.
No, we have unfortunately run out of time. As I always say.
Wait, is it time done already?
It's time done already. I'm sorry. We've been
time's
talking
done.
about the Ballon d'Or for a while, and we've got to wrap things up. So, stay tuned after this. We've got a live watch-along of the Carabao Cup, Brentford versus Sheffield Wednesday. Myself and Klinton going to be sat on the sofa, the Sporty Corner, the first edition of the Sporty Corner. But as I say, let's wrap things up. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Alex Baguley. Thank you, Klinton.
Before you thank me, wait. Before you thank me and they start showing some other stuff now, please join us on the Sporty Corner. I'm still going to be making a few comments regarding Real Madrid, the Ballon d'Or, and Vinicius, Rodri, the rest of them. I think there's a lot to still speak about.
I'll try and make sure he doesn't fall asleep on the sofa.
Definitely not. Trust me, this is very important stuff going on. But we're going to catch you guys soon on that one. Yeah, you can finish up.
Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for joining us, Gary and Alex and Klinton. As always, thank you for joining me. But until then, we'll see you on Thursday to talk the weekend football.
Ebwe.
Egwe.